West Africa across to Brazil, more than half of the people are African descent, up to Caribbean, up to South Central Latin America. North America is almost the caboose on that train. We're not the beginning and the end of it, as we tend to think. That's the American coming ahead of us. With the caboose of it, it got up to here as well. And I want to jot down just a few points for observation. One, slavery ended in the British Columbia, which included Canada in 1834. Slavery ended here in 1834, and in North America in 1865. So our African brothers and sisters were freed here before North America. Secondly, because of that, a lot of escaping to the freed land of Africans who live in this continent, this hemisphere. So around 1903, which life was more violent under Jim Crow than under slavery. At least in slavery, the mission was to work us and get work with our wages and let us make other little slaves. There was no interest in killing us in slavery, of humiliation and instilling of fear. But when we got the right to vote after 1870 and began to take over the Congress, it was motivation to kill us, and 5,000 blacks were lynched between 1880 and 1940 without an indictment. 5,000 were lynched. Took all of our rights away by law and by terror. Many of us came north to New York, not as immigrants, but as refugees. We came north as refugees from the South. In that season, Dr. Du Bois and Dr. Monroe tried to form the NAACP. They came to Buffalo, New York, and could not get a place to stay. They came over to the Canadian side, the Niagara side of the fall. So NAACP was formed in Canada. Wow. NAACP was formed in Canada. It was formed. We should know that. As we struggle with the Jackie Robinson African Americans played white baseball. There were 4 leagues. They called the white one major, but it was just another league. It was white. There was an all-white league called major. The Latin American League, there was a Japanese league, and there was a Negro American League. And so they began to finally, when all of them came together, it became major. Before 1947, white league called major. Negro League, Latin American League, Japanese League. And when they finally began to make them one league, so we didn't know how good baseball could be until everybody could play. But those who came out of the quote-unquote Negro League, none of them came as understudies. They came as all-stars. Those who came from the Caribbean came as all-stars. Those who came from Japan came as all-stars. So it really was. So we did not know. How good baseball could be. So everybody could play. But the point is, Jack had to come to Montreal first. He came to Montreal before going to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's right. He played in Montreal, Canada before going to Brooklyn. That's another piece of it. When we were able to bring Americans home out of Iraq in the late 1990s, some Americans on that were there some people were from France, some Britain, some from Canada that we brought back home on that trip. We've been trying to find those persons that we brought back home from Iraq during that particular rescue mission. That's a part of our work. Many of the students here are focused on international law. But as the wind blows, we don't think of Canada as international. We think going to Africa, going to Europe. There's more business for us in Toronto than in Nigeria. It has its place. And Nigeria has its place, but Toronto. And what I want us to study is from Nova Scotia all the way across to Seattle, Washington, we share about 3,000 miles of border with Canada. Some substantial African communities. And we're not playing each other as we ought to play each other, because from each other, say from each other. We gain style and suffers. I want to see some of our scholars doing some more work on the African-American-Canadian relationship. Trumps will know kind of what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure that we even see each other. It's like diaspora meant going from America to have one conference in Europe and France, one in Britain. But it never quite included South Central Latin America. It never included Brazil. Somehow Brazil wasn't in the flow because Europe, or even with the liberation movement, Europe was the flow. But there are more Africans in Brazil than any place in the world except Nigeria. We're just now coming onto grips with Brazil, but in terms of wealth and stability, we have more. Detroit, Windsor is across the river from Detroit. And so I want to give some thought to this African-American-Canadian relationship. Lastly is that the corporations that we deal with in America, we deal with here. So if we're negotiating with McDonald's for our share of dealerships, on franchises, car dealerships, corporate dealerships, and we want these corporations to hire black construction companies and engineers and lawyers and ad agents and marketing. We might be negotiating from Chicago, but its impact is on Toronto and Montreal. Y'all got my point?
Yes.
In some sense, that nothing separates us but the notion. So there are no more foreigners and African Americans and Canadians are brothers and sisters in the blood, the history, and the culture. And so I think sometimes that the ships go, and I close, by the way the wind blows. And the wind, Professor, is not blown this way. The wind is blown from North America to Europe, maybe later to North Africa. It's beginning to blow south a bit, to the Caribbean a little better, but south in Brazil. But the Canadian factor here, we've taken trade missions to Africa. I don't know if we're going on a trade mission to Canada. There's nothing an African Canadian needs that African Americans don't have, and vice versa. We are partners. And I want us to think through anew. I have nothing else to say other than the fact that we are lost family.
That's true.
And we need to connect. To me, this is the beginning of a whole new chapter about development. And once you unearth the facts of it, just like the NAA was founded here, which many of us did not know, there's a lot more stuff we did not know. A lot of us should come up here just for health insurance purposes. Same medicine that you pay $100 for in Buffalo, you can get for $10 in Canada. Some people in Detroit come to Windsor, Kansas to get their medicine. An increasing number of African Americans are moving across the border for health care. It's kind of funny, but it's not funny. You have a superior health care system in Canada than you do in North America. So and they don't call it no funny name. It's just, so let me express one thing. How many of you from Canada are in school studying? Stand. You study, you're in school. From Canada, you're in school studying. You're in school, you stand. Study. You're in school, high school, college.
He did study, yes. Study.
President of the Rainbow Push Coalition, we just had our convention in Chicago 2 weeks ago. We had people there from South Africa and Ghana, the Gambia, and Kenya, and throughout much of Africa. We didn't have a Canadian delegation. That ain't gonna happen no more, y'all.
That's right.
We don't see each other as extension, which way the wind is blowing. Say the wind.
The wind
is blowing
is blowing
towards The Canadian sunset.
Sunset.
Can I get a witness? I'll ask that one question. Now I got to go
He
back.
will answer one question. Make it pointed and make sure it's a question and not a commentary.
Yes.
Is there a question? Is there a question?
Why don't I ask him a question? In terms of manifesting this Canadian American
Use
relationship,
Mike Rocco.
Mike Rocco.
in terms of manifesting this Canadian American relationship, and what is quite candidly a new realization
Mike.
to
Microphone.
institutionalize an old friendship. How do you see that happening? Institutionally, infrastructurally, and what do you necessarily want us to do going as an action item going forward from this conversation?
When slavery was the issue, people like Frederick Douglass in Rochester, New York, they came across on the Canadian side from Rochester because that's the part of the connection. Frederick Douglass came across. One thing, we look at what each other has to offer. We have HBCUs. Many Canadian and Africans should be going to HBCUs in North America. Because you develop a lifelong relationship with your classmates, right? And some of them would be glad to host you as students. That's it. Secondly, is trade. If McDonald's is here as a company, and they're building stores, do you have your fair share of managers of those stores? Are they using black lawyers in Canada and the like? Let's get it. My point is, every company that we deal with in America is already in Canada. And so just like Trump and Trudeau can meet because they have relations, we should meet too. Trump and Trudeau have an agenda and we have an agenda. And I want to think through what that means. I was in a session yesterday with Brother Crump, and people talking about how black development, and it was talking about micromanaging economic development if you buy from each other and buy and all that, which is important. But these tall buildings are not built on savings clubs. They're built on pension. Say pension funds.
Pension funds.
Tax subsidy.
Tax subsidy.
Land grants. So while we may micro economically develop, which is important, buy from each other, sell, and appreciate what each other has to offer, you don't know who owns these buildings downtown, except it's your money. So all I'm trying to say to you is that we've learned some of that, so we should share what we've learned. And you've learned, if we want to come to Canada and set up a law practice, why can't Trump set up a law practice in Canada?
Oh, he can. He just has to.
Because there's some Trayvons in Canada.
Amen.
It says there's some Trayvons over here.
There's some Trayvons over here.
I mean, some blacks beat half to death in Canada, right?
Yes.
And we have one of the best lawyers in the Western world sitting here.
He's going to take the mic now, Reverend.
He can take it. All I'm really saying is that I'm not sure that I'll be troubled from here to get back home. Just how we missed the moment. But some more moments. Say God, did not miss the day. Since you started making days. The day, the first day, the rest of our lives. It's time for us to be born again.